Okay, looks like our last question for the evening, which is, what do you guys see as the tipping point that would open education up to virtual worlds?
Wow, if I had a good clean answer to that one, honestly, like I said, I think the learning curve, the barriers to entry have got to come down just a little bit. It's why Dave mentioned the Club Penguin and Webkins and such. Part of the beauty of those is anybody can just jump in on those and be successful. It's why a lot of people did like that Google Lively before it got shut down. Was learning curve, you were through that in about 2, 3, 4 minutes. And Second Life just doesn't have that. It really, a lot of people, especially people that haven't been in a virtual world before, they need to be able to get past that. So once that changes, then the second piece of it is just making sure that people understand the real value to it, how this can help extend the educational experience in new ways. Working for a media company, we recognize it's one thing to read a paragraph about what a volcano does and how hot it is and so on. It's a whole different thing to be able to actually see a video of a volcano erupting and seeing what the different volcanoes look like and what the impact they have are. And yet it's a whole other thing to be able to jump in world and experience it virtually, and to be able to maybe with just a few tweaks be able to make it from one sort of volcano to another, to control the intensity of it, to look at it over time, to be able to freeze frame it, or work your way around it and see it from different angles and so on. So to me, it's a matter of the technology becoming a little bit more seamless, and then just making sure that people are aware of the possibilities, so they start applying their own knowledge sets to it and their own creativity to it.
I agree with everything that Steve said. I think that for me, and you're looking at somebody who spent 3 months on Orientation Island, because it took me so long. I kept falling off the cliff. It took me so long to get accustomed to being able to manipulate the interface for my generation. I think needs to be a little more intuitive rather than having to operate keyboard and a mouse and all this sort of thing to drive my avatar around. There needs to be some more intuitive way to do this. I know that my children would have no trouble with it at all, but to get my generation on, I think the interface needs to improve. I think also, I think that one of our barriers is educational expectations. I think that we have got to sometime in the next couple of years lick this problem with assessment, and what we're expecting our students to accomplish. I think we've got to get to the point where we come to realize that for our children and their future, it is less important what they are learning and how much they are learning. That's less important than it used to be. I think what's become more important is how they're learning it and what they can do with what they learn. And I think that Second Life, that virtual worlds are a nearly perfect place for students to go and actually apply their learning, build with it, express it, share it with other people, add value. I think that's what our kids need to be doing, is not so much seeing how much they can successfully learn, but seeing what they can do with what they've learned, how they can use it to fix things.
That's interesting, because I know many people in the audience and people that are watching are probably familiar with OpenSim, which is a Second Life-like application that you can actually run on your own server. And I know that Vicki Davis is doing some work with her students in Camilla, Georgia, and they also had been users of Lively. And I think it's amazing to see what happens when you put the students in charge of their own learning in a space like this. We're actually looking forward to having Vicki and Julie Davis on this show in 2 weeks. In fact, a little advanced plug. But I guess we can be grilling them at that point. But have either of you had any experience with the OpenSim application? I know there are folks in our mutual learning networks that have, but I was wondering if you guys have dealt with that at all.
I worked with a school in Minneapolis about a year ago that was experimenting with it, and they were essentially using it in their art classes, where they had their art students building cities in the OpenSim, and then they had to be able to describe their cities using terms involved in artistic expression. They had to be able to build the city such that they could talk about it as if it were a work of art.
I jumped onto it when it first opened up its doors. I played around with it a little bit, but at the time I kind of got the idea that there was something there, but I didn't quite grok what it was. So maybe it's about time to go give it another visit. That sounds really interesting, David.
Okay, awesome. We have, I think, a minute or two for a question. How are we looking on time? Let's take a look and see if our crack production folks are nearby. Excellent. Okay, if we have any questions, Delta, if you could just feed them in through IM or open chat. And yes, Atara, we did see about that tagging of the adult content, which we're very happy to see as educators. Any questions in chat? Okay, yeah, we do have, guys, you want to type in the URLs to your blogs or wherever you'd like these folks to be able to find you, just into open chat? I know you have so many. Pick the top 3. Just drop them into open chat. There you go. Oh, just say out loud. Okay. Even better. Why don't you type them and say them? So everybody knows.
Well, the 3 that I put up are the first one is dencommunity.com. That's where you can learn more about the Discovery Educator Network. That's our main homepage. denblogs.com is the national blog and the entrance to our entire blog network, both official Discovery blogs and ones done by Star Discovery educators at our leadership councils. And the third one is my personal blog, teach42.com.
Okay, David, did you want to say yours out loud, and then I'll close?
Sure. My blog is davidwarlick.com/2cents. That's number 2, CENTS. I have a website for teachers, landmark-project.com. And that's about it.
Okay, fair enough. Thanks, David and Steve, for a terrific discussion. We've really enjoyed having you here with us tonight.
Thank you.
Want to let everybody know for the next 2 weeks, David and lots of other people will be discussing his L&L article and tonight's topics on the ISTE Ning, which you can find at www.iste-community.org. Please join us there to participate in the discussion. An archive of today's show will be available shortly at www.ISTE-Eduverse.org. And if you haven't already joined ISTE's in-world group and listserv, please join today and be among the first to learn about upcoming events and past show archives. Visit ISTE.org/Second Life. We hope you've enjoyed today's presentation. Thanks again to our guests and for all of you participating. It's been great.